Okay, folks. Welcome back to part 2 of building our little budget tool in Loom. Oh man, I'm sorry. I need to turn my music down real quick. The fella can't hear himself think, you know? Um, yeah. So, for those of you just tuning in, you probably should go back and watch version 1 of this video. That's what I did before I hopped back on to record this. But yeah, my name is Hamilton. I'm the lead developer on Loom. We're building a budget tool in Loom. We started this process about 2 months ago. Life got in the way, or not so much life got in the way, but I took a little detour to build a more robust CLI version of this tool before coming to the UX. So now I have a better understanding of sort of the business logic and sort of the experience that I'm looking to manage here on the front end, which is maybe kind of an interesting approach to development. Or not an interesting approach, but an expected one from a backend developer, right? Of course, I have to build the backend business logic before I think about the front end. But yeah, hopping back into things, where we had left it off, we had been properly submitting our sort of income flow, although we're not rendering it right now. And I think by the end of this session, what we want to be able to do is add expenses, right, and have them appear here. And then ideally, right, as we both manage our income and our expenses, there's maybe like a little magic number here at the top that basically says, hey, are you saving money? Are you spending more money per month than you get in? And is it is it close or is it far? So yeah, so let's dig in. Actually, let me just make a little note to myself there that that's what we're doing tonight. I like to keep track of the things that I'm trying to build as I build them. Just always little tasks as you're building. So I think the first thing we want to do is we want to actually display our income categories and value. And then we want to be able to add expense categories and values. And then finally, we need to display essentially the sum and indicate if the budget is on target or not. So yeah, let's get started. So, right, so we've already got income. So the first thing we need to do is, where does that go? Income. So here's our income, right? It's probably inside our income control component, inside our income inputs. Here we go. We've already got income, right? So if we don't have anything, so do we have an income? We have an income entity. Here's our content, right? We go to create the entity, grab content from text. So let's see about trying to display this thing. I think we might be able to get away with another. Well, let's not do a text input, right? So in this case, if we've already got income, Um, income is a readable entity in this case. And the data is, I believe, essentially just the text. So here's the first thing we'll do, right? We'll do income, right? So this should dereference it and allow us to see object, right? Which sucks, but we'll just do a JSON stringify real quick. Still just an object, go figure. That doesn't seem right, but I guess what we really want to see is the data, right? Okay, content 5,000. Right, so this is the actual income that we got. So the first thing that I want to do, I think, is actually change how we're submitting this data. And almost more importantly, I want to be able to edit this data, which is going to involve some context menu shenanigans, right? So here we go. This is like a generic entity content display object. So let's start with that for now, right? Entity content, and I think we just pass. How do they work? Call it income, not entity, so its entity is income. I think that's right. Let me close the tags. Yeah, they should be readable entities, right? So there's content. Did I not save it properly? Yeah, okay. See? So it's just displaying the content now. And if I right click on it, nope, not quite right. So the other thing we're missing from this, right, like I was talking about, is this context menu stuff. So which I believe I can just compound this in here. Put it on like a div around the entity content, I guess. So here's couple of context menu elements and some context menu params we'll need to pull in. Okay, and then we have to pull in the context menu from the app. Okay, let's call this entity to make that a little easier. And we'll need to pull in the author actor. Well, I'm going to be boring and not include that particular context menu action. I just want the entity context menu action, mostly because I want to be able to edit stuff as we're going, right? So this is, okay, so this is like one of the magics of Loom, right? So entities are sort of the lowest level like data object inside of Loom, right? Talked about that in the previous video. We have entities and we have ties. So by having this thing be an entity, this allows us to take advantage of a number of sort of pre-built systems within the platform, in particular the context menu, and in particular this set of actions that we can take on top of generic entities, right? So, so this just allows us to pull up the entity item, right? We can see its type, we can see its path, we can see who created it, we can see when it was created. You know, it doesn't have a defined path. It means it's a note by default. Again, there are a number of design decisions within the system that I disagree with. I think that your defaults should still be explicit, but in the interest of efficiency, my previous business partner cut that out. We also don't have a name, so there's no like human-defined descriptor for this thing, which is fine. It's more like data. And then we have content, right? We can also erase this entity. We could delete this entity. Erasing technically leaves a tombstone behind. So there is anything that was referencing this entity will still technically be able to reference it. So it's like a, think of it as the like you go to a Reddit thread and you see a bunch of this comment was deleted. Like that's kind of what erase does. It doesn't. It leaves a little marker behind that still indicates something was there, even if most of the content was deleted. A delete is just a delete. Like there's just no more record. Here's the entity ID. Here's the actor ID who wrote it. Right. Here's the core data. How would I put this? Oh, yeah, and then you can see what points at it, right? So there's a collection, entity ID 5432, that has an has item relationship to this entity, yeah, 5444, which I think there should be a type here, right? I'll make a little note for that. Change entity type default to note, not null. So I think what I want here is pull up some of this work on another window. Because what I want to do is I don't want these things to be notes, right? Nor do I think this thing is necessarily an entity type that fits within the... Oh god, what was it called? It was a social media spec of typing specifically that we were leveraging. Active types? I don't know. If you look up Toolmaker's forum, we talk about it in one of those. I guess I'll have to go back and listen to that. But no, specifically, so this thing's not a note. It's a budget item, right? And we could have content here, but I'm kind of curious, like, what if we skipped content, right? Let's say it's category paycheck. Its value is 5,000, and its type, subtype of budget item, is income. Right. This input is very finicky, but you'll see here, right? Like what's happening is in this process of developing, I'm just kind of bypassing some of the restrictions on the tool to get the data form that I want, right? So like this is what we want. We want category, we want value, we want income, right? So we save it. Cool. Well, now we're not actually displaying anything, but that's okay. Entity content is pretty generic in the grand scheme of things. And then let's say, so we can actually, I think, define a type. I'm going to do this at the top level. But we can define a type here. And we will call this, let me export this interface. We'll call it a type. It's a type. Still unclear on the difference between the two, but it's budget item, right? And am I not allowed to export from here? Maybe I don't need that colon, right? Export type, budget, item, right? And it's category, string, value, number, type, income, or expense. Cool. Oh, that's interesting. I can't declare types in Svelte files. What about interface? Well, I'm curious about this, so let's find out. Can export type Svelte file. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we have to create a new module script, which I don't know is interesting. I feel like this is kind of unexplored territory in the platform, right? I think we mostly keep things at the Svelte level. Okay, well let's experiment a little bit, right? Let's type module lang equals ts. It's gonna complain about there being. Ooh, okay. Context. Okay. It's not type. It's context. Great. Okay. So now we got this budget item. I'll be curious to see how we actually can pull it up in here. But let's import type budget item from lib plugins budget. Does it maybe have to be JS? Budget JS. Just import it from budget. Does that work? Okay, great. And that's exactly what we want, right? So in this case, I think we want content to be a budget item. Which we'll see what entity data means. I guess I have to I think I can coerce it though, but it's right. Text.trim should actually be this content budget item equals, this should be, let's say, value. Probably don't need this. Let's see, and then the category. For now, we're just going to skip category setting. You're just a paycheck, right? The value and the type of income. We'll say value is string.parse. Gets parse int. I could also probably, well, maybe it's number.parse. Nope. Okay, how do we TypeScript string to number? Perfect. Just put a little plus in front of the value, and that courses it. Great. Entity data. Entity data. I guess we'll just say content to it has to be an object. Jeezy crazy. So much fun stuff, you know? Actually, we just call it data. I think it'll just work, right? Yeah, because entity data needs to be right, because it needs to be object content. And we need type, right? So a type, I believe a string as well, should be. So the type is budget item. And then the content is there we go. Yeah, you get there eventually, right? So now here's a fun thought, right? We're not actually displaying anything right now, right? So we'll get it back. One of the I got budget in here twice. That's so weird. So have an entity, then we return let's see, it's a budget item or undefined. If there's an entity, then entity data dot content. I don't know if that string will actually parse in, so I wonder if I can parse it. Do a quick little JSON parse, else returns undefined. No, data. Checked, data content. This is undefined. Okay. If there's an entity and if there's data and that data has content, let's parse it into entity data. Otherwise, undefined. And then what we get to do here is some really shitty rendering, right? So its category and its value is entity data value. Nada. Interesting. What if it's just entity? It's just raw entity data. And object content. Undefined. Interesting. Undefined. I mean, we have the entity here, right? We can see it's of type income. you can see the data here. I wonder if that's part of it. Like if it needs to be of type, or not type, but like, let's say item type. Because it's still a note, right? It doesn't have content. It just has data. That's right. Okay. Interesting. And this is because I edited the data directly, right? So item type. And this, of course, is the byproduct of popping the hood, right? Is we can get ourselves into some weird states. But this is all essentially because this all needs to be type budget item content. Great. So now we have this, the entity data actually looking right. Presumably. No. Now it's not doing any better. Interesting. Man. Unexpected character at line 1, column 2 of the JSON data. That's unfortunate. Okay. Well, we need to turn off the JSON parse then. Does that happen? There it is. Let's turn this off. It should at least. Another if in here. Oh, well, yeah, that'll do it. Okay. So, of course, data.content is So something about this doesn't parse properly. You know, I think the thing is that we already, it technically came in as a string. But we're treating it as an object. And so I almost wonder if there's entity data content, then it's not necessarily that we parse it, we just coerce it as a budget item. Yeah. Alright, fine. Well, cool. So we don't need this anymore. Alright, there we go. There's our income. I'll be curious. Oh well, and then here's the other thing we can do, right? Is we'll delete this entity, and then we just say it's 5,000 a month. Great. Okay. So there's the display income categories finished. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that locked in. Then what? Well, so I think... Oh, just bump my volume up, sorry. So I believe based on kind of the... Nope, don't want to delete the space. Just want to delete the entity. So if we don't have income, I think we just want to display this one, right? Let's see. There's probably a to-do here to make income actually a collection, not just a single entity. But, you know, we're going to have to figure that out for expense items regardless. So I think we can figure that out, and then we can backport it to income input. So let's bump up to budget, right? So we have this category controls component. I think it's different than list items. I don't think we've actually started on category controls. Different than income control, I believe. See, and then these ordered items come from loading ordered entities. Just pass in our list collection. Where did that list collection come from? That's going to be categories, right? Okay. Interesting. What are our category controls again? We have another list input. Is that what this is? Let's find out. Right? So we got this. We've got our category controls. Our list input. Add item. What if it's actually add category? Add. What if we call it add expense category? Ooh, there we go. Interestingly enough, we actually need 2 input fields for this one, right? We need that category, and we need the expected value, the expected expense for the category. And then theoretically, if we say, for now though, right, we'll say one of the expenses is rent, right? Okay, so now the list item appears here. And so I think what we'd be getting at is, honestly, we could probably be using the same sort of input with like a toggle here as well. Because all we need is that sort of single, like a budget item describes both an income and an expense. The budget itself being the collection of all budget items. So, yeah, interesting. Let me leave a little to do here then. I'm bump it up against time here, but it's not actually what we want here, right? What we want is, I think, replace 2 discrete controls with a single budget item control. And we can kind of expand on budget item creation interface, and then add display business logic to sum all budget items based on type. Yeah, so I think we'll actually get something working in part 3. Which is kind of funny. I feel like for all of the work that was done on income control, I I might actually just delete it and shift over to category controls. Well, here. I'm not going to delete it yet because I still need to reference it, but I think we can just kind of consolidate to a single space. So it's budget items. We're going to name this simple budget items path. And then we can rename category controls, budget item controls, budget item controls. I feel like this list items will be did I just call it? I did call it list items. We should definitely rename that budget items. Oh, that's funny. I don't even know if I had planned that. Because you have budget item controls, budget items. It's all coming together, you know? Interestingly, I feel like if you have kind of a common vocabulary for yourself while you're architecting and designing, even without thinking about it, things tend to line up. So those are budget items. Replace this. Which I think should mean that it's still fine. Great. I don't know why that suddenly broke, but I wonder if it's because this shit. How is that invalid JSON now? Huh. I bet that's a bug in how this stuff's being developed. I just want to delete the entity. What if I don't JSON stringify it? What if I just say it's content as string? No. Okay. Nope. Oh, well, there you go. Maybe that was just a state issue. Not my problem at the moment. Okay, so category controls are actually supposed to be budget item controls. That. Budget item controls. This input is budget input. But, well, and that's the problem, right? How do I deal with multiple inputs? I'm basically using this one text input object. But how do I then build a multiple form, right? Because basically I want an income input. Or income control, right? We want budget item input. Itself, it's just a wrapper on text input. But I think I just need to add a couple of additional inputs here, right? Like a value input, add category, value, and type inputs. Yeah, man. Still in the thick of it, too. Can we do multiple text inputs? Yeah. And here's a fun one, right? Right now I got this going on here. It's like I don't need to see this, right? So here's a fun one. Let's modify text inputs to include a simple export show avatar bool equals true by default. Do a little simple if show avatar. It's brackets slash if, right? That shouldn't modify anything by default. And then budget item controls, budget input. I then get to be like, is it show avatar equals false? Show avatar a string? It's a what? No, it's a boolean. Oh, right. There we go. Yeah, look at that. And do I have checkbox? Clear checked button. I should go through little to-dos. So now we got this little check button. It's a to-do item. And okay. We just add a checkbox. Here. Oh, this is fun. Category. Value. Add it to income. Where's checked not valid? Ah, duh. Do I need to put a little bracket or something? I think I'm missing a ballot binding. I don't care about the disabled stuff. I just want to see. Ugh.
If I go back to the start, you found my weakness. You're too smart. I feel the skip in my heart when I see you in their arms.
Hmm.
But every bone I break.
That's so weird. Why is that a problem? Does it just have to be checked? Okay. Weird. I'm gonna put this thing on the front. Great. And then if let's see, then we'll say let's button text equal if checked come else expense, we use add button text. This should be fun. It's not dynamic enough. Nice. Check that out. Check. Value 5,000. Yep, that'll definitely break it. A little category value and trimming. Two elements. Actually, there we go. Do const value. Value. That sounds so dumb. Let's call this input, right? It's a category, it's category input. Not value, it's value input. Follow through on this focus stuff. And then here's where we make the most of our work in the other input. I'm sorry. Yawning into the microphone is great content. Because what we need is income input. Yes. Then we build this. Build ourselves a budget item. Category is just category. Value is just value, and then button text to uppercase. Oh, that's done. It's checked. It's income. Otherwise, it's expense. Right? And then, what were we doing with the data? I think it was just like this, right? Ties. This one, however, has a list, so we definitely have to make sure that that's what's going on here. Yeah, but now we just make budget items. I think we'll be okay. Let's see what happens when we make one. Right, we do a little reload here. Right, we want to do recreate what I got. Oh. Ops value replace is not a function. Ah, that's a fun one. Now it's just broked. Probably because we're doing fast text display supplies or something in the budget items. Yeah. Could just do entity. Is that all it takes to fix it? Great. Get out of content. There we go. Nice. Okay. So, in that case, I think I've mostly got it. So now we're making budget items. We can technically render them. And yeah, and then cool. So then if we were to have, say, a rent, $1,000 a month, bills, which are 400 a month, food, it's 400 a month, candles, which are 7,500 a month. I guess you'll have to tune in for the third and what is hopefully the final installment on this budget to figure out if the budget's going to be over or not. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to clear this item out real quick. I'm going to clean up what we don't need anymore. So I don't think we don't need this income control anymore. Since we don't need the income input anymore. Although I can just repurpose these, right? One of these is the category inputs. One of these is the value input element. We'll say one is category, 2 is value. Great. Don't need this stuff anymore. Income control. Don't need income input. Nor do we need income control, which is actually kind of nice, right? Like that's a feels like a really nice refactor, and like a really nice polish. So yeah. So let's see. Add category. Add budget item. management and display. So yeah, so um, next time we'll be dealing with some of the type chaos that comes with this. Maybe working on how we render this a little bit better, and then adding probably like a little bar at the top that's basically just is the budget on track or not. So sweet. Um, yeah. Uh, as always, I'm Hamilton. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please be sure to sign up for the Loom developer community at getloom.org. And I wanted to shout out uh, Discognition for the sick mix that is underneath this. He's a local Denver DJ. Dig his stuff. So thanks for being the tunes for code. Um, yeah, have a good night, y'all.